It's a beautiful Florida day for the opening round of the 2002 Barber Pro Series at the famed Sebring International Raceway. Hello, I'm Lee Diffie, joined by Jeremy Shaw, and as the crowd roll in, the field roll around behind the pace car. Let's check the specifications for this wonderful category. It's a Reynard chassis, 265 horsepower, V6 Dodge engine. Today we've got a 40-minute race, and it is a 10-round series kicking off here in Florida and finishing all the way down the road in Montreal, Canada. A great category, a great field. Jeremy Shaw, talk us around this Sebring track.
It's a historic circuit here in the middle of Florida, and it's a great place to start this championship. Several good overtaking opportunities. Turn 1 is a good one, down under heavy braking for the hairpin at turn 7. There's a couple other more tricky places around this track, but then at the end of the Ullman, straight down into Sunset Bend, that's a great place to make a pass as well. Tremendous opportunities here for all these drivers, Lee.
In only his 4th appearance, AJ Allmendinger starts from the pole alongside 2000 champion Milton Rossoni. Davey Cook and Mark Brewers make up the second row.
Row 3 will get Julio Campos, a national championship winner last year, and Memo Rojas from Mexico. On row 4 of the grid, Leonardo Maya and Dan DeLeo from Canada.
Back to row 5, and it's Christian Shimjak and Carlos Liavano. The 6th row of the grid is made up by the Finnish driver Hanna Vinnakainen and Rafael Sperafico.
Row 7, Josh Beaulieu from Canada and Javier Gonzalez from Mexico. On row 8, Tom Fogarty, the veteran from California, and Chris Baker from Texas.
Plenty of cars, 23 to be precise. Row 9 is Piero Rodarte and Herman Quiroga. Oriol Lopez Jr., one of our rookies, starts alongside John Hall on the 10th row.
Roland Israel from New York on the inside of row 11. Alongside him, Charlie Pereira, and right standing shotgun on the field, Mike Richardson from Canada.
Plenty of onboards for you. The first one is with Rafa Sperafico. The reverse shot on board the Michelin car with Julio Campos. There's plenty more. One of the series newcomers, Roland Israel, will give us this view throughout this race. 19 laps around Sebring. We join the Quaker State car of Leonardo Maya, and he will give us this particular view. They grid up, they pack up nicely, in fact. Coming out of the final turn onto the main straight here at Sebring. This kicks off a 10-round series, and you have got a real hot shot starting from pole on the right of your screen. The red and white car is AJ Allmendinger. They see the green. Here we go for the 2002 Barber Pro Series, and the yellow car far right of screen. That's Davey Cook, has got a marvelous start. Pulls alongside the pole man, AJ Allmendinger. Allmendinger tries to defend, he can't. Great stuff, Davey Cook.
Classic move there, down the inside in that first corner. Good move by Davey Cook.
Leonardo Maya, we take the onboard. Dan DeLeo off to the left there. Then Memo Rojas, look at this, great overtaking move on the opening lap around the outside. Nice work, Maya.
That's the big scholarship winner from last year. He's doing a super job in his first pro race of this season. Did a couple of races last year. Now it's going to be his first full championship in these cars. Somebody off the road there.
He seemed to have kept it together, so the Quaker State car off to a nice start. Now let's look at it from the front. It's Davey Cook who pounced from the second row, locking it up, our pole man, AJ Allmendinger.
Got beaten away from the start in Allmendinger. He's trying to make it up. You don't want to make it up too soon and risk making a mistake. Allmendinger kept it under control, and it's still Davey Cook with the lead. There's a battle for 3rd place.
Milton Rossoni, the 2000 Pro Series champion. Look at him defending right on this opening lap from Julio Campos. Plenty of aggression, runs wide, Julio Campos. One of many young, talented Brazilians in this year's championship off to a great start. Memo Rojas makes up the 5th position.
Yes, good racing all the way down the field here. With just a quick word about Mark Brewers, who started on the 2nd row of the grid, should have started on the 2nd row, but he spun off on the pace lap lead.
Here he is on the inside, taking Roland Israel. Nice move from Mark Brewers. He has got a lot of ground to catch up. Opening lap, what a frantic opening lap. Plenty to go, and AJ Allmendinger continues to put the pressure on our front runner, Davey Cook.
Wow, and there's Milton Rossoni getting that car so sideways there. He was a champion in the series a couple of years ago. Whoa, who's that off the road?
Someone has gone off big style. We pick up a number.
Carlos Liavano from Peru.
And it is, yeah, Liavano off on the opening lap. And you can see the frustration there. The young driver, that is not how he wanted to get his season off to a start. Meanwhile, AJ Allmendinger is relentless on this opening lap. He is not letting Davey Cook go. Cook pounced from the start, 1 down, 18 to go.
What's a great racing. Now here comes to the inside. There goes AJ Allmendinger, making a move down the inside, trying to repay the favor that Davey Cook brought him first time around. He's not able to make the pass, or is he?
They pull along side by side. Great driving from Cook and Allmendinger. AJ will have the line. So a change of the lead just after one lap. Our poleman gets back in front where he wanted to be.
I think you've got to give Cook credit there. It would have been easy for him to try and slam the door shut on Allmendinger, and by doing so, risk taking them both out of the race. He didn't do that. He left the door open, and he gives himself an opportunity now to make a comeback and try and get past Allmendinger one more time.
Field summary top left of screen. And Josh Beaulieu has already made some nice progress early on in this race. Meanwhile, look back, Nilton Rossoni still holding off that very determined challenge from the Michelin car of Julio Campos. The action is fast and furious here at Sebring for the opening round of the Barber Pro Series. More right after this. Welcome back to Sebring International Raceway. You're watching the opening round of the 2002 Barber Pro Series, and it is the 20-year-old Californian AJ Allmendinger who leads the hard-charging Davey Cook in the early stages of this race. Let's take a look at a replay. This is earlier Rafael Sperafico. Major problems with that car, Jeremy.
And that was last year's Rookie of the Year in this series, and he's clearly having some sort of an electronic problem. It sounds like on that engine. The car is misfiring. He's dropping back down the order.
Dan DeLeo, one of our rookies in the 2002 championship, putting plenty of pressure on Piero Rodarte. And then Gonzalez right behind him.
Gonzalez
and Dan DeLeo has run right off.
Yeah, Gonzalez is doing a good job. Look at that, a good save there. But when he got on the dirt there, he kept his foot in it, but he didn't get sideways. It's so easy to overcorrect and come back across the racetrack.
Leonardo Meyer having a great scrap. We saw that very first full move on the opening race. Look at him in the draft here. We ride with Meyer.
Oh, he moves to the outside there to try and make this pass into turn one. This is a tricky pace to go around the outside. You've got to be so brave to drive around the outside of someone there. It's Josh Beaulieu. He's trying to get around. He wasn't able to do it. Tucks in behind now, going down towards turn three.
Good driving too from the Canadian Beaulieu to hold Leonardo Meyer off. There's a fair bit of difference in terms of experience at this level between these two guys. And Meyer won't be giving up. Fabulous onboard action from Sebring International. Look at this, Mark Brewer's making his way through from 23rd and last on the grid after that spin on the pace lap. Jeremy mentioned that before. Now he's starting to apply the pressure to Dan DeLeo.
Yeah, he's already up into 15th place. Considering he started the first lap in 23rd, that's a great first couple of laps for Mark Brewers. Such a shame he spun off the road on that pace lap. Had to start from the back.
Herman Quiroga there as Brewers. Looks like the cowling's starting to lift at the back of his car there. He makes another move, gets past Dan DeLeo, so tick another one off the list. Mark Brewers is on the way up.
Dan DeLeo must have made a mistake as well, because he started up on the fourth row of the grid. He slipped back there, and he's now going to chuck in behind Brewers and see if they can both make progress up toward the front of the field.
This is the guy that finished 6th in last year's Barber Pro Series. So he has a fair amount of experience, knows what he's doing, and especially around this Florida circuit.
He's got 20-odd starts in these cars before he came into this race. He was one of the quickest cars in testing here and in practice as well. Started, or qualified I should say, in 4th position. So he's certainly quick. He's got that long-term sponsorship from Sunoco. Mark Brewer's doing a great job.
Just had a quick look there at Rafael Sperafico, who is experiencing all kinds of problems as we ride with Campos as he puts the move on Nilton Rossoni. So persistence has paid off. Well done to the young Brazilian.
He's a talent. Both these two are so talented. Young Brazilians, there's lots of them coming up through the ladders. Here's another move now, down to the inside.
Round the outside goes Leonardo Meyer. Well, he just waited very patiently. Now the challenge comes back on the inside from Josh Beaulieu. Great side-by-side racing.
Side-by-side through Sunset Bend. Past the pits now. It's Meyer there just with the edge on the inside line, but can Beaulieu get later onto the brakes into turn one? No, he can't.
Well, someone hit a marker there, Jeremy. One of the side markers coming out of pit lane. Let's watch the replay. This is Christian Szymczak there. He makes contact with it, and it goes back. No damage done to anyone there, so a lucky escape. Let's go back up front. This is your race leader, AJ Allmendinger, ahead of Davy Cook, and he's got a handy margin there now.
He has now. He's really got his head down now. He got beaten away from the start, but now he's making progress. He's out where he wants to be and trying to set the pace.
Julio Campos, the rear-facing shot. You're looking at Rossoni, the 2000 champion. And this is a real comeback for Nilton Rossoni. Not much racing done last year for him. So this could be his career back on track.
That's right. Rossoni just did one race last year in Indy Lights. His prize for winning the big scholarship from the previous year, I should say winning the Pro Series Championship the previous year, but he wasn't able to get the full funding together, sat out the whole rest of last year. Now he's trying to make a comeback.
First, second, the margin back to third. So Campos has got some ground to make up. Davy Cook is not under pressure. In fact, he's putting the pressure on now. A mistake from AJ Allmendinger, our race leader, and that's put him back into second spot, and Cook was there to pounce. Simply looked like he ran wide, Jeremy.
Certainly did there. The tower bends at the far end of the racetrack there. Just put a couple of wheels off on the dirt on the outside, and Davy Cook takes full advantage down the inside as they come up here, and they're coming now onto the Ulman Straight.
And he runs wide again, the wild man, AJ. Settle down, young man. As he brings it back on, he's very fast, we know that, but he doesn't want to lose this margin. He wants to get back up with Davy Cook. It's been a fairly wild start by young AJ Allmendinger, and he's got some work to do. As they bring it onto the main straight, Cook's your new race leader from Allmendinger, and Campos up into a podium position, but a long way to go here at Sebring. The Kart FedEx Championship lives on speed. The Toyota Atlantics live on speed. And now we're proud to say the Barber Pro Series lives on speed. Hope you're enjoying the action. Round one from Sebring here in Florida. You're watching Leonardo Meyer in the Quaker State car really put the pressure on. He and Josh Beaulieu have been having a wonderful scrap.
It is the battle for 7th place, and it's Hannu Vinnikainen from Finland just holding on there.
Plenty of space between them and the Californian Christian Szymczak. He's been having a fairly steady race so far, all by himself. Not too much pressure up front or from behind, so Christian's enjoying himself. Meanwhile, look at this fabulous scrap.
That was Vinnikainen there, getting that car very sideways under braking. That's kind of like the Scandinavian flick there that we see in rallying, where they throw the car to one side under braking and then flick it around the other way to make the corner. Great car control from Hannu Vinnikainen.
Interesting guy. He's done some Spanish F3, some German F3, and now the Barber Pro Series. And he's got Leonardo Meyer, the winner of the Barber Kart Big Scholarship last year. That's why he's here in 2002. A couple of races in this category last year, and now look at him go.
He's under pressure as well, isn't he? Josh Beaulieu there from Canada. He raced last year in the Canadian Formula Ford Series, and there is Beaulieu making a mistake, as I say that. Gets the car way out on the dirt, and look how much ground he's lost just at one little slip.
And Tommy Fogarty says, thank you. I'll come right up and put the pressure on. Watch for the yellow and black car coming into shot now. That's Tom Fogarty, brother of John Fogarty, who is now in the Toyota Atlantics Championship and doing very well. His older brother Tom now applying the pressure to newcomer Josh Beaulieu.
There's a classic Sebring shot. There's a B-52 in the background as the race cars come down the Ulman Straight. And here down to the inside, we're going to see a move here.
Well, it's been a fabulous start to this 40-minute race. The first round of 10. And this on the same bill as the American Le Mans Series, the 12 Hours of Sebring, celebrating its 50th occasion. A big moment for these young guys to be in front of such a large crowd, and Meyer makes the move stick this time.
Finally, he gets that move done. He'd been pushing so much pressure there on Vinner Canyon, and finally he gets a better run off that sunset bend, gets the run down the front straight, and completes the move into turn one. Now, can Meyer make some progress from there? Next in his sights will be Memo Rojas, but quite a long way ahead.
And the misery continues for Rafa Sperafico.
What a disappointment. He was quickest in practice, quickest in the testing sessions as well, but problems here. That engine misfiring, and he's bringing it into the pit lane.
Last year's Rookie of the Year does not start the new season in the best way at all. Back to the action. And the Sunoco car of Mark Brewers. Another one? Why not? He is making his way through this field in fabulous fashion. Qualified very well. Brewers was due to start from 4th, as we mentioned, got all the way back to 23 after spinning on the pace lap, and now enjoys the 12th position.
That was Chris Baker then. He put a move on, and he's making progress all the way. He's already pulling away from Baker, and next in his sights will be one of the Mexican drivers, that is Piero Rodarte.
Easy to get the cars confused between Rodarte and Memo Rojas. Similar livery with the blue and white and the Telmex sponsorship.
And Rodarte has moved up well. He started down in 17th, so he's made up 6 positions already.
Up front, it is still Davey Cook, who enjoys a clear track ahead. What a stunning move that was right from the get-go. And it's been he and AJ Allmendinger that have dominated this race, but this young man is not giving up. Paul Tracy's protege and a real star of the future.
Certainly is, and they put a little bit of ground between themselves and the 3rd place car of Julio Campos, who in turn has pulled away a little bit from the 4th place car of Milton Rossoni. So the first 4 at the moment spread out fairly equally, about, 20 yards between them. There's another mistake from Allmendinger. He's driving so hard, trying to make up for those earlier errors, and because of that he's making some more errors now. So if he keeps on doing that, he's going to have a hard time catching up with Davey Cook. He needs to settle down, maintain his pace to drive within himself and get up close to the tail of Davey Cook.
He's not afraid to have a go, is he? He's really getting into it.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's done a lot of racing over the winter, has AJ Allmendinger. He went down to New Zealand to race in the Formula 4 Championship down there as a winner of the Team USA scholarship. Picked up a lot of experience, come here now with a lot of confidence.
Rafael Sperafico is back out on the circuit and running.
That's the good news. The bad news is there's several laps down to the leaders, but he's still going to give us plenty of action, I think, from the onboard.
And by the sounds of it, those intermittent problems are still happening. So 1 and 2, Davey Cook, AJ Allmendinger. It is still happening here at Sebring. You're watching round 1 of the 2002 Barber Pro Series from Sebring International Raceway. Race leader Davey Cook from AJ Allmendinger and Julio Campos. Now the margin has opened up there. Campos is doing his best to close that gap to AJ Allmendinger, who continues to push so hard.
He is pushing hard. He's putting wheels off the road everywhere, but as you can see now, the gap is much closer from 1st to 2nd. So Allmendinger has reeled himself in a little bit, and at the same time, he's reeling in the race leader, Davey Cook.
There is Tom Fogarty, and that is Piero Rodarte right behind, and here comes Mark Brewers from the back to 12th. He wants another one.
Does indeed. He's doing a super job this afternoon.
Whoa!
That was one of the Mexicans.
That's Rodarte.
That is Rodarte. Both he and Memo Rojas, you said those cars look very, very similar. They both raced in Formula 4 2000 the last couple of years, and now moving up into these much higher horsepower cars.
Very impressive run from this young man today, Josh Beaulieu. one of the newcomers to this championship, and has put in a very, very solid drive. Had a fabulous battle earlier with Meyer, but now he's out there by himself.
He's got a bit of breathing space at the moment. He started 13th, so he's now up to 7th, so he's made up 6 positions already.
Leonardo Meyer a little further up the road now. That easy to recognize Quaker State car, the green and white machine. Meanwhile, the margin has definitely closed. Look at Armendinger, really closed the gap on our race leader, Davy Cook. The field summary at the top. You'll notice the people changing positions, most notably Mark Brewer's further back in the field. But Vinnakainen there, Fogarty trying to put on the pressure, Radate, Brewers, Baker, DeLeo and Lopez, the top 15. Meanwhile, the action continues up front. Keep your eyes on this. Armendinger is the man really making the move. Davy Cook in his home state, his home race. And the Californian really applying the pressure.
AJ's so good on the brakes. He's really late on the brakes. Whoa, there's too late on the brakes. That's Julio Campos.
Well, let's take a look at that again. The replay on board with Campos. Take a listen.
It's pretty bumpy there in Sunset Bend. You have to be very careful how you apply the power in these cars. No traction control. Look, here's a move.
For the lead again. Nice work, AJ Armendinger, and very reminiscent of the move he put on earlier.
Yeah, and Davy Cook there just left the door wide open down the inside. I think he left his own braking a little bit late, trying to maybe goad Allmendinger into a mistake, but Allmendinger judged it perfectly, made that move to the inside, and Davy Cook, now he's got all that work to do again. He's back into 2nd place.
Just getting back to that incident before with Campos, that was a nice piece of driving, Jeremy.
It certainly was, wasn't it? I mean, he lost it, he lost control of the car, but didn't lose a position. Probably only cost him a couple of seconds.
2 Mexicans out on track. Gonzalez gets past Lopez Jr. in the Herdez car. Both in the chase for the Rookie of the Year standings, but they'll have a tough fight if this round's anything to go by, with AJ Armendinger also vying for that title, and he's right up front. Fantastic to see the great mix of nationalities in this category. You've got the Mexicans trying to follow in the footsteps of their hero, Adrian Fernandez. You've got the Canadians following in the footsteps of great people like Greg Moore and Patrick Carpentier, Jacques Villeneuve. And you've got the Americans trying to emulate Michael Andretti and Jimmy Vasser as well. We join the Michelin car of Campos. He's dropped back to 4th. He's lost that 3rd to Nilton Rossoni, but he's still in it and still chasing hard. Over $700,000 worth of prize money, contingencies and scholarships up for grabs in the 2002 Barber Pro Series. And you're looking at the 2 guys who have got the season off to the best possible start so far, but we've still got a long way to go here at Sebring. AJ Armendinger, the rookie this year, and only his 4th appearance in this series. He did 3 races last year. Whoa, off goes Davy Cook, but keeps it on track. Who's going to get this one? It's an interesting one.
They're both pretty ragged, aren't they? Here we are back on board now with Julio Campos. He's back into 4th place now. He puts a wheel there onto the dirt, coming off turn 1.
Beautiful sound of these V6 3.5 litre engines. And Campos is trying to close that gap to the now 3rd place again, Nilton Rossoni. This is 1st and 2nd, Davy Cook from Tallahassee here in Florida. Campos again, and he's being chased, but not by a car.
Yeah, he's under attack from the air, isn't he? Julio Campos has been under attack from all sides there. Fantastic. It's a great place, this Sebring. It's a very historic venue and all sorts of fascinating aircraft here.
Back to the front, first and second. And that battle has swapped and changed right from the green in this 19-lap encounter. And a long way back. There's plenty of air between second and third. Tom Fogarty continuing the chase. Meanwhile, this guy just continues to click them off lap by lap. Mark Brewers in the Sunoco entry.
Yeah, we're halfway through this 40-minute race, and now we can see Mark Brewers there. He's up into 11th place, and he's moving ever closer to get into the top 10. It's Tommy Fogarty who's next in line. But as you look at that bodywork there, as you said earlier on, Lee, that bodywork on the right side, the tail section there, beginning to lift away from the side pod, and that's going to really effectively act as an air brake. It's going to slow him on the straights. It's going to make things pretty tough for Mark Brewers.
Well, I'm sure if he continues this progress, he will eclipse last year's effort here at Sebring of a 9th. Well, he and Davey Cook were going at it, in fact. Cook finished 8th, Mark finished 9th. So he'll want to better that effort.
No doubt that that bodywork flailing there is going to slow him down on the straights, but through the corners might even give him a little bit more grip. So he's pushing harder. Look at that, using every inch of the road on the exit of the Sunset turn, down past the start-finish line one more time.
An extra downforce aid, you reckon?
I think it could well be, but certainly it's certainly acting like an air brake on the straights, no doubt at all. It's going to cost him time on the faster sections of the track, and that's really where you need to be fast if you're going to outbrake somebody into a following turn. So I think more of a hindrance than a help for Mark Brewers.
We haven't seen a great deal of two drivers out there, 5th and 6th, Kristen Shimjak and then the Mexican Mimo Rojas, but they're having very respectable runs in the points and just enjoying themselves out there. Meanwhile, we speak of Mimo Rojas, here he comes, and this is Leonardo Meyer applying the pressure. Now this gap has certainly reduced dramatically.
Big time. Mimo Rojas, he raced in this series 4 or 5 years ago and then moved across to the Formula Ford 2000 Championship. Now he's back in the Barber Dodge, a bit more experience on his side now, doing a good job here, but coming under increasing pressure from Leonardo Meyer.
You were looking at the battle there, and the positions 4 and 5. Meanwhile, that is rather his 4th place, Julio Campos, and you were looking back at 5th and 6th. That's the dust left by Julio.
These boys are all driving hard, aren't they? There's no quarter given here. It's fantastic racing in the first round of the Barber Pro Series.
Getting back to that point we mentioned earlier, that this is on the same bill as the American Le Mans Series and the 12 Hours of Sebring. The next round at Lime Rock, they're on the Trans Am card, and for the remaining 8 rounds of this 10-round series, they are on the kart program, and I know that there are a lot of people, organisers and drivers, teams, family, that are very excited about that.
And this is why, just great racing. There's racing all the way down the field. We saw Meyer there get a good exit onto the straight. Is he close enough to make a move down the inside? No, he's not. So Mimo Rojas holds on. This is the battle for 5th and 6th place.
You may have heard about kart's official ladder system. Well, this is where it all begins. This is stage 1 in a professional racing career as far as kart is concerned. And within that kart ladder system, the Barber Pro Series, these guys then look up to the Toyota Atlantic Series, and then of course all the way to the top to the big boys, and with the big boys to the Kart FedEx Championship Series.
Several drivers, of course, already made that step. 2 of the most notable perhaps would be Kenny Brack, who now drives for Target Chip Ganassi Racing, and Brian Herter, who also went on to win in Indy Lights before he stepped up into the Champ Cars. And Brian Herter, he'll be racing at Sebring this weekend for the Paynos team in the Sebring 12 Hours.
Another notable name and a graduate of this category, Juan Pablo Montoya, now driving for BMW Williams in the Formula One World Championship. This battle goes on. I'm sure these two guys, as Herman Quiroga does a little bit of grass tracking and ploughing, but nothing too bad about that. He gets back on track and continues, and the action will continue. On the other side of this, it's the Barber Pro Series here on Speed. well and truly over the halfway mark here at Sebring International Raceway, the opening round of the 2002 Barber Pro Series. You're looking at AJ Allmendinger defending from Davy Cook. They've both enjoyed a clear track ahead in that lead position. Who will get it when the checker comes out? We've got a few laps remaining, and there's plenty that can still happen. Allmendinger, as we mentioned, has been taken under the wing of kart legend Paul Tracy. Race for him in karting, and Paul keeps an eye on his career, the way he's going, and so far is very pleased with this young man.
Yeah, he's absolutely delighted with him, and Allmendinger is certainly doing a great job out on the front of the field. Davy Cook, he's doing a fine job too, and look at that, very smooth that time around AJ Allmendinger. I think he's really got the bit between his teeth now, and he's going to try and put some daylight between himself and the second place car.
That battle now has reached a conclusion with Leonardo Meyer getting ahead of Mimo Rojas.
Yeah, the battle for sixth place, and as you see, Meyer now, he's up into that position. He is the big scholarship winner for this season. He won that as a result of a shootout here at Sebring on a slightly different configuration of this racecourse back in December last year.
And before the season even got underway, we got a directive from Leonardo's mum, Jeremy, and myself, that it's Leonardo, not Leo.
Yeah, Leo himself says Leo's fine, but no, my mum wants me to be called as Leonardo, so we'll try and do that, Leo, some of the time.
Rojas looks like he's struggling a little because Meyer is just driving away ever so slightly. We'll see if the Mexican can come back.
Meyer was absolutely a revelation when they had the big scholarship shootout at the end of last year. I think it's fair to say that AJ Allmendinger really was a favourite going into that contest, and it's a free season in the Barber Pro Series as the prize for the big scholarship winner. So a heck of a lot at stake, but Meyer really stepped up to the plate on that three-day outing here at Sebring, and he came away with the scholarship.
The Barber Pro Series is entering its 17th year this year, and this track is one of the landmark tracks and the cornerstone tracks of this championship over the years. But these young guys are going to see some exciting places. Round 3, they go to Laguna Seca, then they have Portland, which is now a championship event, Toronto, Cleveland. They have the street courses like Vancouver and Toronto, Mid-Ohio, Road America, and the season finishes up another exciting venue for them at Montreal.
Looking again there at Mimo Rojas, car number 15, and he's back to AJ Allmendinger. That was the fastest lap of the race so far for AJ Allmendinger. Look, he's stretched out that gap just a little bit more over Davy Cook, but not by a heck of a lot. Cook is still pushing hard, and he's still got Allmendinger in his sights.
Last year's race here at Sebring, Rafael Sperafico had the fastest lap of the race. That certainly will not happen today. Sadly for the young Brazilian, he's been suffering from some mechanical troubles, and it's intermittent. He gets going, then we've seen him in the pits and gets going again. Frustrating times for a very talented young guy. The updated field summary, top left there. Tommy Fogarty still maintains a top 10 position, and look at Mark Brewers. He's now up to 11th, ahead of Baker, Gonzalez, Lopez, and Hall. This is your race leader, and he's doing a mighty fine job.
Much smoother now than he was in the early stages of this race. We don't see the wheel off the side of the track nearly as often as we did earlier on. He's really put his head down, just concentrating oh so hard not to make any mistakes and not to give any more opportunity to the second place car of David Cook.
If you've just joined us, I'm Lee Diffie with Jeremy Shaw. This is the Barber Pro Series, a great category, a wonderful class for these young guys. Well, young and old, there's mixed age in this field. And a great control category. These 3.5 litre V6 Dodge engines with the Reynard chassis, controlled Michelin tyre, gives it a great format where the true talent and driving skills of these guys, and speaking of skills, Campos just keeps it on track. They really get to showcase their talent.
Yeah, two very gifted young Brazilians here. We've got a couple of young Americans out in the front. That was Allmendinger and Cook. And these two Brazilians, we've got Rossoni. He's just 21 years old, taking a year off, as we say, now back strongly into this series.
Campos has certainly bridged the gap to Nilton Rossoni. Can he close that gap? We'll find out after this. We're getting nearer and nearer the checkered flag here at Sebring, the Barber Pro Series, and this man's coming under increasing pressure. Nilton Rossoni, we mentioned earlier, he was the 2000 Barber Pro champion. Kind of had a year off almost last year, but he's back and is wanting to resurrect his career, and he's in a top 3 position at the moment. Mark Brewer's now starting to apply the pressure to Tommy Fogarty.
He's made up that deficit, now only 4 or 5 car lengths between Mark Brewers and Tom Fogarty. He's not yet close enough, however, to make a challenge, but still probably, about 3 or 4 minutes to go. Time for another couple of laps at least, and if you can just maintain this pace, then Brewers should be able to catch up with Fogarty. But catching and passing, 2 entirely different things, Lee Diffie.
Exactly. We've seen Brewers, look at that bodywork, just so pronounced now. It's just sticking out so much. But it hasn't seemed to affect him a great deal. He's all over the back of Fogarty now.
It's pretty strong, that bodywork as well, because there's enormous aerodynamic forces working on it, but it has kept together, and he's certainly, I don't think, in any danger of being black flagged. That doesn't look like it's going to fly off, so they'll allow him to keep out there. Look at him closing up under braking there. Tommy Fogarty really coming under pressure now from Mark Brewers.
It's been an impressive run. We've lost someone. That's Charlie Pereira from Ecuador. He is in the tyre barrier. Doesn't seem as though he's too wedged in there, Jeremy. He may be able to get out of that, and he does. Starts to reverse out.
That's good news. So let's hope that we can carry on this race with no full course jet before them. Just a fight to the finish, all the way down the field, all sorts of battles. This is the battle now for 10th and 11th place with Fogarty and Brewers.
Fogarty doing a good job. Another plane. How many's that? About 3 or 4 now.
It's a busy place, Sebring International Raceway.
There's a great shot to show us if Brewers can indeed make any ground on Fogarty, as Davey Cook makes his way past Charlie Pereira, who has got the car going again after nudging the tyre wall.
But he's still got a lot of work to do if he's going to catch AJ Allmendinger. They're coming off the carousel turn there. That is Davey Cook, the yellow car, and you can see it as they come out of the carousel. There ahead of him is AJ Allmendinger. It's a good 20 yards or so, and with the time ticking away here, Davey Cook has got a lot of work to do if he's going to wrest that first victory.
And although Davey is seeing that possible #1 spot evaporate, sure he'll be delighted with his performance in comparison to last year when he did get a top 10 result, but it was further down the order in 8th. He's a talented driver, this guy.
Very much so, and he was in contention for the Rookie of the Year honours last year. In fact, going into the final race at Laguna Seca, on the very last lap, it looked like Davey Cook was going to win Rookie of the Year, but he tried to make a pass, lost a couple of positions, and lost that prize. That prize, a full season in this year's Barber Pro Series. So Davey Cook has had to regroup, find the money, and now he's back with a vengeance.
This is interesting as we join Isra. Whoa, through goes Rafael Sperafico. It's a little hard to tell whether there was contact there, but Sperafico did a good job just to gather it all back up and avoid hitting the tyre barrier.
Yeah, Sperafico certainly, he's got one of the fastest cars on the track, but he made a mistake there.
I'm sure he's furious and frustrated with these problems. He'll be already looking forward to the second round at Lime Rock in Connecticut. Meanwhile, this is fairly intriguing. Can Julio Campos do anything about Rossoni?
Yeah, these 2 young Brazilians, 21-year-old Rossoni, 20-year-old Campos. Campos, the reigning national champion in the Skip Barber National Series, and now in his first ever pro race, beginning to put the pressure on Nilton Rossoni. Just a couple of laps to go.
Big time for these guys coming from the National Series and other categories, stepping up to the Barber Pro Series. They can see that they're making headway and that they're on their way to bigger and better things, especially towards the Kart FedEx Championship Series.
Very definitely, that's what they got their eyes set on. Here's that lapped car in front of them as well. This is going to be interesting.
This is Charlie Pereira, the car that you saw Cook round up a lap ago in that position, and after he reversed out of the tyre wall. Look at this, Campos making ground.
Good work there by Pereira, kept well out of the way, but there's Mark Brewers, he's got past Fogarty.
Good work, that's another one off. That's another one down.
Oh, and that's Memo Rojas on the outside. Rojas there, car number 15, he's struggling, he's off the pace.
He is going very, very slow, the Mexican.
He was running in 6th place, but now falling down. The order is down now, out of the top 10.
That now makes it 23rd and last off the grid for Mark Brewers, into the top 10 in 9th, and is going forward all the time. Not far to run now here at Sebring International Raceway, round 1 of the 2002 Barber Pro Series. And you're watching 9th and 10th. Mark Brewers in the Sunoco entry ahead of Tom Fogarty. This guy has just stormed his way through the field. If you've just joined us, and we'll update you on his situation. He was due to qualify on the second row, start on the second row in 4th, spun on the pace lap, was sent to the back of the grid, started 23rd, and is now 9th.
Fine drive by Brewers, and who's that ahead of him? That is Hannu Vinnikanyan, I think, ahead of him now. So that it would be the battle for 8th place. Brewers, super job this afternoon. Can he get one more position?
That's Herman Quiroga. We saw him off in the dirt and dust earlier, and a little bit of a hassle there, but he's able to keep the car rolling. Meanwhile, let's get back to it. This is for a podium place. It's the two Brazilians, Rossoni and Campos. Campos goes to the inside. Great move, gets it, the door shut. Side by side onto the main straight. Great racing from these two young guys. Campos has made the move stick. You ride with him right now.
Great move there by Campos. This is lap 17. We've got about, 4 minutes to go, so probably time for another couple of laps. That was a perfect textbook pass into Sunset Bend by Julio Campos. And now Nilton Rossoni, the 2000 champion, has it all to do if he's going to get back onto the podium.
The reason why he had to fight for that third place, if you missed earlier, Julio Campos in the Michelin entry was coming onto the main straight, spun, did a full 360-degree turn, kept the foot planted, pulled a gear and just kept on driving. It was a great piece of driving, but in that altercation, he lost third place to Nilton Rossoni and took lap after lap to gain it back, and now he's got it back.
Great fight back there by Campos, and all the instructors at the Skip Barber Racing School when he was in the National Series were saying, this boy is the real deal. He can go all the way to the top, and here he is in his first ever pro race. Campos up into third place despite that earlier error.
It seems as though he's pulled a margin as well. Here we have Rafael Sperafico looking to come on the inside.
He's several laps down, Sperafico, but he's just driving now for the pleasure of it, I think. I don't know whether there's much pleasure when you're right at the back of the field, when you know you've got one of the fastest cars in a race, but he's not given up just yet.
And that was Roland Isra he was trying to get past. And of course, we were riding with Isra earlier when Rafa came flying through on the inside, coming through Sunset Bend. Let's continue on, though. Winding down for the opening race of 2002, this 10-round series. It's been a pretty good run from this guy, Leonardo Meyer in the Quaker State entry.
Yeah, he's been embroiled in various battles through this race, but as you can see right now with the time ticking away, probably one more lap after this lap, and he's now got himself well away from anybody else and running in 6th place for Leo Meyer.
Yeah, he's well ahead, and there's the white flag for AJ Armendinger. What a stunning performance from this young guy. Rookie for the 2002 season. We do stress that he has had 3 starts in this category before, but his first pole position, and he is well on his way to his first ever Barber Pro Series win. What a way to do it. The last, well, a very familiar name to us all, associated with the Kart FedEx Championship Series, Kenny Brack, who drives for Target Chip Ganassi Racing. He won here at Sebring back in 1993 and went all the way to win the championship. Could this be a sign for young AJ?
He certainly hopes so, and look at the margin he's now pulled out over Davey Cook. There's somebody else off the road.
Cloud of dust, difficult to see. Could that be Charlie Pereira? It's a little difficult to see from here. One
more time. I think Charlie's been off the road a couple of times this afternoon, but this man certainly hasn't been a flawless drive from AJ Allmendinger, but it has been an extremely good drive from AJ Allmendinger, and he's now pulling away pretty comfortable now. I'm sure he'll just stroke it home to the finish. He's got about another 6 or 7 turns to go. There he comes through the water tower turn, and the finish line's not yet in sight. There's Memo Rowe. As you can see now, that car really struggling. He's slipped back down the order. He's outside the points now, I think, or actually back to 14th place. Can he hold on maybe and get a championship point or 2?
Well, that answers our question from earlier, doesn't it? Because we were wondering why Memo was sliding back down the order. Meanwhile, let's gather it all back up for this young guy, because AJ Armendinger is almost there. A fairy tale start to his Barber Pro Series career. Pole position and race victory is not too far away.
It's not indeed, just down the Ullman straight for the final time, so just Sunset Bend to come for AJ Allmendinger.
He had a good shot on that previous view. The margin between he and Davey Cook. Well done to Davey because he fought very hard throughout this race. Armendinger slows it right down as he brings it onto the main straight in front of this huge Sebring crowd. Great start to this young man's career. The 20-year-old Californian pumps his fist as he comes across the line. Super stuff for AJ Armendinger. Pole position and race win here at Sebring. Congratulations, Davey Cook picks up second. Looks like Julio Campos should have third. Wrapped up. Meanwhile, Mark Brewers is not done with yet. He's going for 8th.
He's closed up on the back of Hanu Vinakanian's car, but he's looking at closing up there under braking into Sunset Bend. Is he going to be able to make it? No. Vinakanian, I think, is just going to hold him off.
Julio Campos did get there for third from Rossoni, and Christian Zimzak got there for the top 5 finish, and Vinakanen beats Mark Brewers home. But not a bad effort. That young guy has come all the way from last to 9th, but there's your race winner. Success at Sebring for Armendinger. What a fabulous day for AJ. AJ Armendinger, victorious at Sebring, receives the congratulations from his crew, and rightly so. Let's check out the final results of the opening round of the Barber Pro Series here at Sebring International. That man, Davey Cook, went hard at it, and Julio Campos really had to work hard for that final podium position.
Christian Zimzak, 28 years old, beginning his 2nd season, a great run to 5th place.
Mark Brewers, as we mentioned, worked his way inside the top 10 a little further back. Aurelio Lopez Jr., one of the rookies, finishing inside the top 15, a couple ahead of Rodarte, Hall, DeLeo, who we probably expected more of, but nonetheless, a good run. Let's hear from our race winner, Armendinger.
The whole week leading up to it, I knew I'd be fast in the car, but I didn't think I'd be this quick, and had to settle down early in the race. Got in the lead, but got a little, rookie mistakes. Heated the tires up, got off track, kept going, knew that it was a long race, saved the tires, and little by little ran down Davey, and then once I got around him, I knew I had to just run quick laps.
Well, that move in turn number 3, you had the pretty much identical move both times, it looked like.
Yeah, he got in turn 1 both times and made a little mistake, had to check up on the exit of the corner, and these cars, that'll kill you, and I made the pass getting into the corner.
You had an interesting off-season, didn't really know whether you'd be here, did you?
Oh, no, I mean, this, on the cool-down lap, I was almost in tears. I mean, I struggled so much trying to figure out what to do, what I was going to be doing if I was even going to be racing cars. And, the Barber Dodge Pro Series, this kart ladder system, it's the best kart ladder system and series in the world. And I'm so glad to be here.
Nice young man, isn't he? And what a thrilling way to start the 2002 season. We had a little bit of everything. Some pretty slick and forceful moves. And Armendinger showed just how determined he was right from the outset. For old Leovano, he exited very early. And the reigning Rookie of the Year was absolutely furious. But he'll be back. It was these two guys the whole way, Armendinger and Davey Cook. They were going at it right from the outset. There was plenty of off-track excursions, both up front and down behind. But all in all, a pretty exciting race. We look forward to the next round, and that's coming up at Lime Rock in Connecticut for the 2nd round of the Barber Pro Series. And for all, stay up to date on speedtv.com. Well done, AJ Armendinger. On behalf of Jeremy Shaw, I'm Lee Diffie.